Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the sixth episode of this season's Wild Sheep webinar series. I'm Amanda Verheuel, the Executive Director for the National Bighorn Sheep Center. Our mission is to provide education and outreach for the national conservation of wild sheep, wildlife, and wildlands. Tonight, we present the Wild Sheep Foundation's Women Hunt program. I am very passionate about empowering women to hunt. This is personal to me. Growing up in Wisconsin, my family were outdoor enthusiasts but did not hunt. My journey brought me to the Mountain West, where my husband taught me to harvest and process my own meat sustainably. It is incredibly empowering. With this panel tonight, we open this panel tonight with Renée Thornton. Born and raised in rural Alberta to a large farming family, Renée Thornton serves as chair of the Wild Sheep Foundation's Women Hunt program and committee, and the Women in Hunting Initiative. Although not raised in a hunting family or with a hunting background, in 2016, Renée embarked on a personal journey to become a hunter. This decision was driven by a decade-long pursuit of sourcing her meat more ethically and organically from small local producers and farmers markets. To Renée, the logical progression was to obtain her protein from animals that live freely in nature until harvested quickly and humanely by her own hand. As a result of her experiences as a solo adult onset hunter, Renée is passionate about engaging with and helping more women cross barriers on their journey into the fields and the mountains. She is particularly dedicated to the conserving wildlife and wild places they inhabit and ensuring others understand the role that hunters and hunting play in conservation. Renée believes in giving back her time, talent, and treasure. She is active in volunteering and speaking at various Wild Sheep Foundation and chapter and affiliate events. She is a life member and supporter of more than 10 different Wild Sheep Foundation chapters and affiliates. She is also a life member of SCI and holds memberships in multiple partner organizations. In addition to hunting, Renée enjoys fly fishing, hiking, backpacking, camping, and traveling on adventure. As a hunter, she has taken many different species of wild game. As an avid reader, accomplished writer, business leader, and mentor, Renée recently retired from a 30-year career as a professional manager for the Canadian federal government. She resides in Manhattan, Montana. Also on our panel this evening is Katie Cheesebrough. Katie is the executive director of the Wyoming Wild Sheep Foundation and has been in Wyoming since she was 9 years old. She fell in love with the landscapes, the wildlife, and the people. Through the outdoor adventures of a kid growing up in Wyoming, Katie was inspired to pursue an education and career in wildlife biology. After receiving her master's from the University of Wyoming, Katie continued her lifelong love of wildlife, working as a wildlife and habitat biologist for several organizations, including the U.S. Forest Service and the Wyoming Game and Fish Department. However, Katie now considers herself lucky to serve as the executive director of the Wyoming Wild Sheep Foundation. Here, she and her family have found a home amongst Wyoming's most dedicated, passionate, and fun-loving wildlife advocates and sports people. Together with the Wyoming Wild Sheep Foundation Board of Directors, she now leads the foundation onwards and upwards by coordinating with Wyoming's natural resource agencies, serving on the statewide Bighorn Domestic Sheep Interaction Working Group and advocating for bighorns and other wildlife. Also on our panel this evening is Paula McClain. Paula is a native of the Lone Star State, but has lived with her family in Mississippi for the past 12 years. Paula has been in education for over 24 years, now serves in district administration for the Mississippi Schools for the Deaf and Blind. She truly enjoys working with and supporting deaf, hard of hearing, blind, and visually impaired young people. Paula has been hard of hearing all of her life. She understands the students that she serves firsthand, having a disability herself. Paula's son, Caleb, encouraged her to apply for the Wild Sheep Foundation's Women Hunt program. He is an avid hunter and fisher and now serves as her hunting mentor. Upon learning that she was chosen for this amazing program, he was the first person she called. She and her family look forward to many fishing trips this summer, as well as hunts this fall and winter in their home state of Mississippi. They're also excited about training together for a safari they will be going on in 2026 to the area of Limpopo, South Africa. Paula not only enjoys learning about wildlife conservation, but is passionate about sharing that with others, including the students at both the deaf and blind campuses. Through utilizing the sheep kits available through the Wild Sheep Foundation, as well as their educational videos, lesson plans, and resources. She has found this very easy to do for anyone in education. Thank you all for your support, and with that, please take it away, Renee.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you very much. And, the Wild Sheep Foundation and Women Hunt really value our partnership with the National Bighorn Sheep Center. And I really appreciate this opportunity to have this webinar with you this evening. And thank you to Katie and Paula for joining me for this conversation. And to those of you in real time with us, welcome. And for those of you who watch this later, we're happy you're tuning in. So as Amanda mentioned, my name is Renée Thornton, and I chair Women Hunt, program of the Wild Sheep Foundation. And our purpose is to, I have to pause. I'm sorry, I can't move my screen forward. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that, everybody. So our purpose is to engage, educate, empower, and inspire women who, have a curiosity about entering the hunting space or conservation space. We try to help facilitate that entry and welcome women into this community. Women are one of the fastest growing segments of the hunting and conservation and shooting communities. And our program delivers what it takes to get more women into hunting and enjoying the rich benefits of outdoor lifestyles. Some of the great things about Women Hunt is that we provide a community where you can find support on your personal journey into the hunting, conservation, and outdoor communities. And, sometimes it's really remarkable to watch the bonding that happens amongst women, I think whenever we get together. But there's something about the intensity of a really great training program that, as you can see in this image, these women actually only knew each other for less than 24 hours when this photograph was taken, and they were already super bonded, and it's really awesome to see. We're the great thing too about our community is that if you're stepping forward, if you're interested in entering hunting and conservation, you already know you're like-minded, or you're certainly on a similar track. And there's comfort in that, especially when you're stepping outside of your comfort zone, pushing yourself, entering what is still currently a largely male-dominated community. And so to be able to do that in the company of like-minded women can really be reassuring for women who desire that, and we provide that. We host what I call a flagship course. It's an exceptional opportunity at the FTW Ranch in the Hill Country of Texas. We do an annual application process, which I'll get into a little bit later, but I have to say, without any exaggeration, that the FTW Ranch offers best-in-class education from subject matter and industry experts. They employ retired special forces, Navy SEALs, who are expert not only at teaching you rifle and marksmanship training, but also are all of them accomplished hunters. And they also employ a first class wild game chef from San Antonio. His name is Chef Joshua Schwenka. His company is Gastronomy Outdoors, and he specializes in wild game preparation. And he's also very entertaining and funny, and has lots of great stories to tell when he's teaching us. And then the additional staff at the ranch are all expert in hospitality industry and administration. So it's just a fabulous place to visit. When you come through our opportunities, you really do become empowered by the knowledge and the skills and your hands-on experience that you gain. There's lots of other things that you benefit from, but universally, I can tell you that in my journey as a solo adult onset hunter, and then through forming this program and all the women that I've spoken to, hundreds of women, maybe thousands by now, there are universal priorities for women who seem I'm making a generalization, but most women, their primary preoccupation is their comfort with their firearm. And you can see in these images some different shooting positions that these women are using through the course. But comfort with your firearm is very, very common as a primary concern. Your second one, of course, is about how you're going to feel when you harvest an animal and being able to dispatch an animal humanely with one shot and prevent suffering. So, part of the training is about gaining confidence. And while, it says here, gaining confidence to inspire other women to start your own journey, that will come with time. But, you're watching in these images here our students learning how to process game meat that they harvested during the course, and breaking down, it's kind of overcoming those major hurdles: comfort with firearm, taking an animal, field dressing an animal, butchering it, and then learning to prepare the meat in a really delicious way are some of the major benefits of this course. And we do offer um, other benefits. We teach the North American model of wildlife conservation. We do an introduction into that. I firmly believe that all hunters, regardless of gender, should understand the model, at least its basic principles, the 7 major components, and being able to talk about the relationship that hunting has and wildlife conservation is super important, especially in this day and age where there seems to be a lot of confusion about the roles that hunters play in wildlife conservation, a lack of understanding. So we do teach those principles as well as ethical hunting principles, game laws, and other things. One of the greatest things, and I'm sure Paula will talk about it later, is about the networks and friendships and lifelong bonds that you gain from joining Women Hunt. And it really is remarkable how tight these women are, not just during this high pressure 4.5 day training experience, but also afterwards. They're so connected to one another. They're still in contact with each other. We have group chats and all sorts of fun things to help support one another. We see each other at events, and some of the original classes from as far back as 2021 have started having reunions, and I'm sure our current classes will start to do that too. As I mentioned, this Field to Fork course used to be called the New Hunter course. You might hear some mixed language from older alumna and newer alumna, but the ranch has now rebranded, and their New Hunter and Rifle training course is now called Field to Fork. And our application period is open right now. It's open from May 1st to 31st. It's an online application. You can access it at the web link there on the screen that you can see. And, for those of you who are here today with us and who may listen to this a little later, I'm imagining you're listening or present here because you're thinking maybe about hunting, and we'll talk a little bit more as we go through the presentation about how it's all about motivations and what your motivations are and why you want to hunt. And if you don't, what is it that you want to learn? And, what are your reservations or your uncertainties? What makes you nervous? And what might you be able to do to overcome that? And, having opportunities like this where we can meet with each other and talk and discuss um, and normalize those fears and uncertainties goes a long way to settling your nerves and allowing you to really embrace the possibility that you can do this and absolutely understand that you can. I'll tell you that I have seen women through all walks of life, ranging in from ages of early 20s to mid 60s, who've been selected for this program, and every single one of them had insecurities and uncertainties, and all of them were successful. It's remarkable, really, to see what you can accomplish, especially when you have great support. That's kind of what we're doing right now. We do some other things with Women Hunt. We have a website that we're going to be really expanding this year. I have a team now that I'm going to be working with on that. On our revamped website, we're going to have a culinary corner where our chef Josh, who's our executive chef, is going to make contributions. We're going to have a conservation corner because so many of the women who enter the hunting realm really are dedicated wildlife conservationists, and they want to know, how can I volunteer? Who can I volunteer for? Who's looking for help? What kind of projects are out there? So we're going to feature many of our vetted partner organizations and what they're doing, and hopefully drive some great volunteers their way to help them out. We're going to have we're going to develop a section of our website where you can identify which state or province or territory you live in, and then that will populate resources for you in your own backyard. Again, one of the things I faced in my journey was I would, use Google to try to figure things out. I didn't know anybody. I had no one to help me. I had to figure it out on my own, and I never really knew if the results I was getting were verified results, if they were reputable organizations or individuals. And so we're going to do some vetting and provide some lists of resources to help people who are looking for local connections. There's going to be some other things on our website, a kind of what I might call like a share your story corner, where people can, it doesn't even need to be a hunting story. It can be any sort of part of their experience that they want to share, photos or even just a story about something that they went through. And so we're really looking forward to developing our website and providing more support to our community and those who are interested. We're also going to do some other things. The application process I mentioned is a competitive process. We consider it a grant. We have very generous donors and sponsors who fund this opportunity. And so all the women who are selected to attend, all they have to do is get themselves to San Antonio, and we take it from there. So it's really an extraordinary opportunity. You get not just the training at the ranch, which is exceptional, but we have great donors who give the women camouflage gear and boots and other equipment to get them started when they leave the ranch. So that's one way of doing it. It is highly competitive. We now get hundreds and hundreds of applicants for 12 spaces. So but we have started now to offer paid opportunities. There are some people who have the means and don't want to compete and just want to just get there with other women and still have that community of women to go through the experience with. So we're going to be offering paid opportunities for just your average woman who might want to do it that way. And also, just this past week, I was at the ranch with a group of industry women. So when I say industry women, I mean women who work in the hunting, shooting, wildlife conservation, outdoor industry, who don't hunt or have really limited hunting experience and want to get more of it because maybe they do on a personal level, maybe they want to better understand their client groups, whatever their motivations. But we just went through an industry delivery of Women Hunt Field to Fork, and that was fabulous. So we're doing that. We're also going to be developing some scholarships. I don't know yet what that means or looks like. That's an early concept from my committee, and we're going to develop that, but we'll have some scholarships available. And then recently we've developed a dedicated fund under Women Hunt that's called the Ruby Mayflower Blake Legacy Fund. And Ruby was a member of the Wild Sheep Foundation. Her husband Derek still is, and their daughter Harbor. And they're from Alaska, and they were married a few years ago. And unfortunately, Ruby passed very suddenly last year. And she really found her life in hunting was how she was able to overcome some very significant traumas from her past, from a previous marriage before she married Derek. And it was meeting Derek and getting out into the outdoors and starting to hunt and meeting the Wild Sheep family and other hunting conservation groups where she really found a path into healing, long-term sustainable healing. And so Derek approached the Wild Sheep Foundation and Women Hunt late last year and asked us if we would consider partnering with him to raise money to have a dedicated stream of women hunt for specifically designed to help support women who've survived some form of trauma, whether it's domestic violence or otherwise. And so we were able to raise a lot of money for this stream at the Wild Sheep Foundation Sheep Show in Reno this year. And we now have this dedicated fund. And Derek and I have struck the committee for that. It's separate from the other work we do. And we're going to be working on this very quickly to provide some opportunities for women this fall. So that's another thing too, that if you know of anybody who might possibly qualify for this stream, that's something we'll be developing and announcing on our website when we have that criteria figured out. And then another thing that we've been hearing a lot over the last 2 years from our Women Hunt community when we have seminars at the Sheep Show and in other areas is that women really have a focus on wellness and well-being, whether that's physical, mental, emotional well-being. And so we're going to be working with some partner organizations on providing some resources for that too. So that's some of the stuff that we're working on in the future. And I want to, before introducing you to Paula, or inviting Paula rather to speak, just really briefly go over kind of the three major prongs of Women Hunt, because Paula's going to be touching on all of them to some degree. So, we offer this field to fork new hunter and rifle training course. That's prong one. And then prong two is when you come out of the course, we match you with a mentor in your local state, province, or territory. Sometimes we're getting so much growth outside of the wild sheep world that we have women in Paula's class in 2022 and in the most recent class from 23, women who have no affiliation with wild sheep. Some of them don't even know what a wild sheep is, let alone the Wild Sheep Foundation. And so we've worked with some partner organizations like Artemis Sports Women, for example, who've helped us find mentors in areas of the country where we don't have a chapter or affiliate. But either way, we work with the women. Some of them already have somebody in mind. As referenced in Paula's bio, her son is her mentor, right? She already knew who she wanted. That works. But if you don't have somebody, that's okay. We'll work to help find you someone so that when you come out of this awesome course where you've learned all these new skills, you're not just left hanging out there with not really knowing where to go or what to do. So we'll set you up with a mentor. And then, and I just want to really highlight that our relationship with the chapter and affiliate network of the Wild Sheep Foundation is really important. We value it so much. When it comes to Women Hunt, they play a major role in supporting the ladies who come through our program, and give them a built-in community, a place to start giving back, which we'll get into here, and people to meet and making those connections. So when it comes to giving back, we talk about time, talent, treasure. All of it's important. People do what they can. But, giving back in the context of Women Hunt really comes down to what are you going to do to give back to the Wild Sheep Foundation, your local chapter or affiliate, the Women Hunt program, the resource. And then we really like to push our women to think about what they can do in their own backyard. So they are all very different. They have different skill sets, different personalities, different comfort levels. They're all doing different things, but they're doing great things, touching hundreds and thousands of lives. And that's the kind of viral effect that we want to see and we are seeing, and it's tremendous. So Paula's going to share with you in the next number of slides. She's going to talk about her motivations and giving back, and she's going to touch on some examples of some of her peers from the class of 2022.
Well, I am excited to be here. My name is Paula McClain, and I am a graduate of the 2022 course. So I grew up in Texas and grew up in a family where my dad didn't really want me to touch guns. We weren't an outdoor family, but other people in the family went hunting, but it was always the men. And I wasn't even allowed to touch his guns. I knew where they were. I wasn't, that was just an off limits thing for me. When I got married, I married into a huge hunting family. But again, the women didn't go hunting. I don't know, what the purpose behind that was, if it was intentional, but women just didn't go hunting. And so, after a couple of years, I kept asking my husband, I would like to tag along. I'd like to learn a little. And he's like, sure, come on. And it was really, I was an observer. I was just kind of the observer on the outside. And, having little children at the time, didn't really have a chance or an opportunity just to sit down and kind of learn those basic skills, even honestly, what a shell was. I didn't even really know what went inside of a gun, the different parts of a gun. So when my son, who is a very avid hunter and fisher, more so than my husband, saw this opportunity, he was like, Mom, you've been wanting to learn. This is going to teach you everything you need to know, because he was in a different state than me. And I can't, I just can't express what a life-changing experience the Women's Hunt program was for me. I went from being afraid to touch parts of the gun and bullets and things like that, to feeling so empowered and so comfortable, and understanding the entire process. Like Renee said, the instructors are so kind, and they're so um, talented, and they draw the good things out of you. And that, I think, was one of the bright shining moments, is to know that I can do this. Like, by the end, and you feel like you're there 2 or 3 months, it just, because you're learning so much. It's like drinking from a fire hose. But by the end of the week, I looked around with the other women that were there, and I was like, I can do this. This is something that I can do. I can do it with my family, but I really feel like this is something I could actually do by myself, and be able to participate in putting meat on the table, and having more of a hands-on experience with my food was very important to me, health wise, and just wanting to be a little bit more holistic. And it was life altering, I think. And when I took all that in, you're sitting and you're going, okay, you're just drinking it all in. And finally, when the experience was over, yes, I have some extremely close friends now. And we'll talk about some of those women in just a minute. But you feel like at the end, you want to give back. You want to share this information. You want other people to know
Shoot.
what it is. Oh, that's okay. You want other people to know what it is that you learned. And so for me, that kind of started the week that we were there training. So I would pull off to the side, and I would start to do a few ASL videos, explaining binoculars, or binos, which was the new word for me, and how to use them. I mean, I know that sounds very simple, but I didn't know how to use binoculars. And so I wanted to start creating even videos showing other people in the deaf community, that how to use binoculars the right way. Um, I was always very skeptical, thinking I have a disability and I wouldn't be able to hunt. And I know that sounds a little funny, but thinking, I wear hearing aids. How is that going to work with trying to scan for wildlife and things like that? But through the program, I really have felt empowered, because now I feel like, yes, this disability is part of who I am, but I can overcome that in this hunting world. And so I've enjoyed that part. When I was principal at Mississippi School for the Deaf, I did get the sheep kit from the Wild Sheep Foundation and brought it to campus, and the students were enamored. Everything was so hands-on, learning about guzzlers and what guzzlers are, which is basically a water source for wildlife. And it's such a beautiful program, um, that the Wild Sheep Foundation does. That was only one part of, what we learned that day with the hands-on experience. The kids were amazing. I know you can see some of their pictures there, and they just had a blast. And at the end of that, I was kind of like, wow, this is so hands-on. I think the students from the blind school would really appreciate this. And their families as well. We had a lot of families came and went through the session with their kids, and just it started out just me trying to help out, the students at the school, and families just came and joined us, and it was beautiful. So I'm hoping this fall to expand that and to do that for both the deaf and the blind campus, and their families, and bring them all in, and have this hands-on experience, with the Wild Sheep Foundation, and learning about conservation of our wildlife, and how our decisions affect the animals, every time we go out into nature. Um, those are just a couple of things that I've done. We all, and we meaning the women that get to participate in this, wonderful opportunity, we all give back in our own ways. Like Renee said, it's it's as varied as the women that were there. And Renee said we did have, Kat is one of them, and one of my favorite people. In fact, she was, other than my family, she was the first person I told that I was going to South Africa. I was like, Kat, oh my goodness, you're not going to believe this. Kat is an amazing hunter and outdoors woman herself. She really wanted to learn how to harvest the wild game, and she's taken that and run. She wanted, really, her goal for the program was to really learn how to share this with her daughter, and she has really embraced that. I cannot express how she has embraced sharing these opportunities with her daughter. Um, she now, I mean, she and her daughter are just all over the place, whether it's, being an adult leader in the coastal brigades. She's been on several podcasts, for the Hunt Fish podcast, which was a really good one. And, she's even an accomplished article writer now for the Texas Fish and Game magazine. So, I mean, she has just embraced this program, and she continues to give back and continues to give back. One of the things that she has enjoyed doing was teaching conservation to children as well, in Colorado, through a group called, the Higher Calling Wildlife, I don't know if it's Foundation or Association, but the Higher Calling Wildlife, to spread conservation to kids. So I couldn't be more proud of her myself. I know Renee is. It's wonderful to see how this program, for her even, was just, oh, I want to learn how to harvest animals, responsibly, and I want to share this with my daughter. And it's become like it is for me now. It's a family thing. We're taking this, and really it's bringing our families together in ways that we can't express. Rachel's right there, and Rachel was one of the youngest of our group. I could have been her mom, but Rachel was one of the youngest of the group, and from Texas, and she just wanted to, be able to hunt with her family and be able to source her own proteins. That's one of the things that Renee was Renee's, passion too. And one of the things that I appreciate, because so many times today, I talk with the students and it's like, the chicken sandwich came from somewhere. You know, that hamburger meat came from somewhere. And so to be able to really be close to your food, you have a greater respect for it. Rachel has done some amazing things herself. Um, she's now she's now a volunteer with the Wildlife Society, the Texas chapter. She's a mentor at a camp that's coming up very, very soon, the Wildlife Conservation Camp, and that's in Junction, Texas. So if you have young children and you're listening live, this is, and you're local or you have the ability to get there, Rachel is going to be there as a mentor. And she's also a biologist. She's extremely smart, and is always teaching and leading groups to kind of understand how to work the ground and do conservation and anyway, she's a phenomenal young lady, and I'm very proud to know Rachel. And Amy, who is amazing, one of our lefty shooters. Amy's up in Oregon, and she's always been an outdoors person. She enjoys the outdoors, but she just wanted to learn some more skills. So this program really for her was, when we were talking, she's like, I know some things about hunting. I would like to get some skills, and I would like to be a little better at what I do. And Amy has been amazing since then. So she's been on, part of the State of the Union address, which is phenomenal in and of itself. She actually has created a program for people like Renee, people like myself, and the other women that are part of this program. She's actually created a program for adult onset hunters, kind of a step by step, which is phenomenal in and of itself. And she is, when she recorded the State of the Union address, if you have a chance to listen to it, it is wonderful because it is all about conservation and taking care of this space that we have to inhabit together. We have one Earth. So she has done some amazing work with policy, trying to change policy for hunters in the state of Oregon. And I kind of look forward to seeing what she's going to do next because she's kind of starting to be a powerhouse. So we are very excited just to kind of keep watching Amy and seeing what she does. And those are some of the people that were the class of 2022.
Yeah. Thanks, Paula. That was awesome. Yeah, Amy really is doing some phenomenal things in the state of Oregon specifically. She's really fighting at the political legislative level and making a difference there. So, but many, all the women Paula just talked about, including herself, are really wonderful examples of how hunters can land through their own journeys and become outstanding conservation champions. Not all hunters do, but many do, and it's just a boon for all of us. There's a ton of other examples about the phenomenal work that the women who come through our program are doing to give back. We have alumna from 2021, 22, 23, and now this industry course, and then our course coming up this fall. And our alumna from the class of 2023 who just completed their course in November are just kind of getting ramped up and started on what their giving back activities look like. So we're going to have another part of our website is going to be developed to really showcase the activities and efforts and actions that these women are taking, and that's where we'll populate in greater detail what all of them are doing from the different classes. And so Katie, I think you'd like to talk a little bit about our relationship with you and Women Hunt.
Yeah. So as Amanda said at the beginning, I'm Katie Cheesebrough. I'm the executive director of the Wyoming Wild Sheep Foundation, and we're a chapter of the Wild Sheep Foundation. And as such, we get inside information on Women Hunt and get the ability to participate. Renee has come to our convention and spoken on Women Hunt, and we had a really lively discussion of why it's important for women to be in the hunting space and how to get more involved in the hunting space. And we finally got it together and sponsored our first Women Hunt participant this past year, which was a big step for us. This is, as we've talked about, these are usually men-dominated spaces, and sometimes it takes them like, why would we need this? We take our wives hunting, we take our daughters hunting. That's our responsibility. And I think really understanding why it's important for women to see other women and to participate with other women in this type of way is really great. So I also just love the name of the program, right? Women Hunt, because it's a statement, women hunt. And sometimes people forget that. But we had the opportunity to sponsor Grayson Highfield. She currently lives out of Cody, which is a beautiful place to live. I'm a little jealous that she gets to live there and I don't. But Grayson is a very lively young lady, and I'm just getting to know her. I know Renee could probably speak more to who Grayson is, but I'm getting to know her through this program and what she's giving back. Her goals for coming to Women Hunt were to learn to harvest meat ethically, sustainably, and have a connection consciously. She's wanted to fuel her body with most clean and natural sources of food. And then that desire to be self-sufficient and confident with the skills in lots of situations. Yeah, and I will tell you that Grayson is a spitfire. She's like, I get to follow her on social media, and what she is capable of doing on social media is really cool. And I think she has the ability to reach a lot of people in a really spectacular way. Some of what Grayson has done since graduating from the course, she volunteered at the 2024 Sheep Show in Reno, and that's where I first got to meet Grayson. She's represented Women Hunt at the Hunt and Fish Podcast Summit, which we have talked about a little bit. She's written and published articles for the Texas Fish and Game magazine, and she has done setup and participated in a ride along with local game warden, which is really cool. That's something she's kind of taken on herself and reached out for that. And in addition to that, Grayson will be speaking at for our seminars this coming June to talk about her experience and fill everybody in, because certainly Wyoming Wild Sheep Foundation sponsored her, and we're really excited to hear from her own self what she gained from this. And her and I have talked at length of how she can get involved. And I'm really excited about her energy, because I get mired down in some of our other stuff. And I've desperately wanted to engage more women in Wyoming wild sheep and figure out a way where we're beyond the wives of hunters. We are the hunters. We are the ones doing things more so than a champagne ladies luncheon, which is always nice, but to do these activities where we can get out and bond with one another and share these experiences, whether it be sporting clay shoot or something like that. So Grayson has offered to help me kind of make that a priority, which I'm really excited about. And then I just wanted to touch briefly on women working in the outdoor industry. There's no one way to be a woman hunter or to be a woman conservationist or to be in the outdoors. And I think Renee's and Paula's statements really about the other women in these programs, like no one woman is the same, and their talents and skills are different. And I recently had a birthday, and I'm just now recognizing that maybe I shouldn't try to fit a square peg in a round hole. So I think it's important to talk about our experiences and how we come to this. And something that a lot of people know is I am also a late in life onset hunter, despite being in the wildlife industry for a long time. I worked as a habitat biologist with the Wyoming Game and Fish Department. I've worked as a wildlife biologist with the U.S. Forest Service. And I always engaged in hunting with my husband. Like, he'd call me, hey, we've got an elk down, we need to pack out the meat. I would be there in hunting camp, but I never saw the reason. Like, our freezer was already full. Why did I need to participate? And so when I got on board with the Wyoming Game and Fish, I had to take the hunter education course. And the poor man who is in our small town Wyoming, he thought I was a spy. But yeah, I had to go through gun training and take the hunter ed course because I didn't take it when I was 12 with everybody else. I wanted to play volleyball instead that day. So yeah, so I think it's important for people to know that we all come from different backgrounds and there's still these opportunities to be in these spaces. And for me, it's a desire to be in the conservation space. And my recommendation to any women who are interested in this is just to say yes to opportunities, no matter how uncomfortable they may feel at first. Just stretch yourself and just jump in and say yes. So I won't get too much further into that. I just wanted to share a little bit about that. And then there's lots of reasons why it's important for women to be in the hunting and conservation space. I think, we bring a different perspective. I think we've talked about a lot of reasons, food, connection, health, physical and mental, teaching our children, bringing our families into these spaces. But definitely, from a perspective of the Wyoming Wild Sheep Foundation, especially when it comes to sheep hunting, kind of our demographic is older and male. And if we don't engage new people and new types of people, some of these great organizations are going to kind of fade away, and that would be a shame. And as Renee had mentioned, women are one of the fastest growing demographics in hunting, and it is so important that we engage them and make them feel welcome and provide a space where it's a space for us too. So yeah, that's what I got for that.
Thanks, Katie. I just wanted to add something before we jump into Q&A, Amanda, if that's all right. I was asked recently, I recorded a podcast a couple of weeks ago with the Wild Sheep Society of British Columbia, and their host, Kyle Stelter, their CEO, asked me, what advice would you give women who are thinking of applying? Can you give them any tips without giving everything away? But I do have some tips for those of you who might be thinking about it. And what we have found over the last 3 years of assessing hundreds of applications every year is that if you take the time to reflect on the questions that you are asked, because they're pretty meaty questions and they deserve reflection and deep thoughtful responses. So take the time to read the questions and really reflect and try to craft your response from your heart. Honestly, it's the heartfelt responses that jump out. And it can be a little bit intimidating sometimes to have to make yourself vulnerable and expose yourself when answering a question and being intimate. But the more heartfelt and honest and transparent you are in your answer, the more your application will stand out. So while I won't give you precise tips about how to answer the questions, I invite and encourage you to apply and be thoughtful in your responses and be heartfelt in your responses. And we hope that many of you will consider applying.
Thank you, Renee. Appreciate that. Appreciate you all really sharing your stories. It's absolutely incredible. And I am, up there with, my experience growing up was really not anti-guns, but it was very much not into hunting at all. And women, were in a different place than men. And then being married into a family where there were extreme hunters and conservationists, it was extremely intimidating for me to jump in there and learn how to shoot and learn these hunting techniques with my husband, who, you know, at the time we weren't even married, we were still dating, and then that was really hard. But being with a group of women has changed that a lot. We have a small group of women in our community who we shoot together, and it's a wonderful experience. Renee, I'm just curious, what if someone applies for this and they get accepted, what are all the things that come along with it? How long is this program, and when is it?
Yeah,
And maybe I
so
missed that.
no, you didn't. So our application closes on May 31st. And some of the features of how we run our application process are that the questions that we developed, I then worked with the Wild Sheep Foundation's youth educator, Dr. Ryan Brock. He's a PhD educator, so he's qualified to design testing and scoring and all that. So I worked with him and had him design a scoring rubric, and we use that rubric so that we assess all the applications consistently. And then the other thing we do is we have all identifiers removed. So we don't know the person's name. If they happen to disclose their age or their ethnicity, or if they have a disability or any other identifiers that may influence us, whether they are our conscious or unconscious biases, they're removed. So that's going to take a little bit of time because, like I said, our program is growing so exponentially that we're now receiving hundreds of applications. So we need to allow those folks that do that for us a few weeks to black that information out before we see it. So we're not going to start assessing this year until mid-June. So we're going to be announcing the successfully selected applicants on August 1st this year. The course this year will be from November 8th to 13th. So the women who are successful will have just over 3 months to prepare. And Paula can attest to this. And it's actually even it's been more refined since you went through, Paula. You know, every year we learn and we do things better, right? So, but in the lead up to meeting in Texas for the first time, we have actually now multiple Zoom meetings, the 12 women and myself, and sometimes we get other folks to jump in who have something to contribute that's important. But so there's a lot of preparation ahead of time because there's lots of jitters and I don't know what to bring and I don't know how to pack and what can I expect and who are these people and so we we go through all of that. But those are kind of the highlights, Amanda. We're going to we close on May 31st. We're going to be taking our time assessing, and then we'll announce on August 1st, and the course is the 8th through the 13th.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions? Wonderful. Well, again, thank you all. And yeah, take it away, Renee, with this page right here that we are
You bet.
seeing.
So we have a presence on Facebook and Instagram. We're particularly active on Instagram. We get a lot of engagement there. So anybody's welcome to check us out through our social media. See what kind of things we post. You can ask questions or comment, and just start building even some connections that way if that's how you like to do it. You can also visit us on our website. Like I said, it's pretty rudimentary right now, but there's going to be a lot of changes and growth to that this year. And the application is found on our website. We have a YouTube channel. It is sparsely populated, but we're also going to be developing more videos. So that will improve with time as well. And then my contact information is at the bottom of this screen, our email address and my phone number. And if any of you have questions, you are very welcome to call or email, or you can even reach out to people like Paula or other alumna who've gone through our course. You can, see who they are on our website, or you can figure it out if you are a social media person. But you are welcome to reach out. They would love to talk to any of you who are interested and share more of their stories and perspectives and insights.
Well, I appreciate all of your time. Thank you, Renee, Paula, and Katie for joining us this evening and really sharing your personal stories. It's just so empowering and so amazing and just wonderful to have, a good group of people to be able to go on to support each other. So women in the outdoors and conservation is extremely important, hunting and yes, all that goes with it. So again, thank you very much. And if there are no more questions, we're going to go ahead and end this
Thank you,
and
Amanda.
appreciate you all. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Happy
guys.
hunting.
Happy hunting.
Be hunting.